Evidence. Tonight, see what truly exists inside the world of the paranormal. Inside. Join the discussion and review some of the best paranormal evidence captures from a wide variety of experienced and up-and-coming investigators. See and hear what they capture, where they captured it, and how they captured it. Right now on Entity Voices Paranormal Evidence.
Hello, everybody, and welcome back to Entity Voices Paranormal Evidence. I am Chris Allgood.
I am Audrey Keeler.
I am Tony Rathman.
And I am Cherie Rathman.
Rathman.
I almost forgot my last name.
Yeah.
Well, what's his name again?
Hopefully everybody had a nice 4th of July.
I know.
Yeah.
What'd you guys do?
Nothing better than 3 days off. 3-day weekends are always much appreciated.
Except it's heat. It's brutal.
Yeah, when it's 114, you don't really go outside anyway.
Yeah. We couldn't even watch the fireworks.
Well,
Hey,
we
it was
could.
96 here.
Yeah.
Well, excuse me, my car said 106 the other day, so
106.
My car said 126.
okay. I don't miss that.
I don't miss that at all.
No.
Today, the high was 82.
It was beautiful
It
today.
was gorgeous.
That's nice.
All right, rub it in.
Come on over.
Rathman's hit the East Coast.
That's right. That'd be awesome.
Cool.
All right, guys. For those of you that have been watching and waiting for us to come back, we've got a really awesome show for you tonight. We have co-author and investigator and engineer / producer for the Ghost Host with Sophia Temperilli. This is Gian Temperilli. Come on in, John. If I can spit it out.
Yeah, thanks so much.
Good.
Welcome.
Welcome.
Wow, thanks for
All right,
having me.
John, this is what I ask everybody. What got you hooked on the paranormal?
Well, my wife now and I, when we were first dating, now 30 years ago. Basically, we watched the X-Files at the time, and when we first started dating, I was going to the University of La Verne and for broadcasting, and we had a VCR that chewed up tapes. It didn't play them. We couldn't afford to go to happy hour and all that kind of stuff. So, yeah, Friday night it all started with sightings that used to come on before the X-Files. When it first started out, and then there'd be this psychic researcher Peter James, and he would come on, and when Tim White, the host, would say, hey, there's this, we're going to check out this new location, and we're bringing in Peter James. We'd get the chills and everything, and we're like, oh my God, they got Peter James on. And then the video that he submitted to Sightings was his evidential capture with Jackie, the first-class swimming pool area talking ghost child aboard the Queen Mary here in Long Beach, where we've always resided. So it was just like that, always just stuck with us. And then they'd have him at Alcatraz or the Heartland Ghost Sally's house. That was his other big investigation. And also to the Ghostwriter house here in Glendale, where they take Polaroids at parties and there'd be writing on the Polaroids. And so that was like a 6-part episode. And so that really got us into it. And then, of course, along the way, we started getting into the lake monster and the rods and UFOs and everything of that type along the way as well.
Awesome.
That's awesome. And Peter James was a legend as far as what he was able to capture in the interaction. So yeah, I can definitely see how that would have pulled you in and caught your interest, because that he captured some amazing stuff, and what he captured of the little girl on the Queen Mary is some phenomenal EVPs, just phenomenal.
Oh, and here's the greatest part, that John was good friends with Peter after a while, right? You wrote a book with Peter?
Yeah, it's his only unfortunately, it's his only and final book. When we took the tour, well, what happened was years down the road, and my wife and I had a business at the time where she was just like doing research and things. And then she saw that Peter James had come back to host tours on the Queen Mary, because after April of 1991, when he had that feigned vocalized communication with Jackie aboard the ship, that just in that day kind of went viral. It was something that, you know, you can't just like and send out tweets and things. The Sightings producers and Fox started getting mail and phone calls and, you know, things like that at that time of like, you know, we need more Peter James and that kind of thing, because it was meant to be just a one-off of that evidential footage. And then they started getting locations together, and Henry Winkler was the producer of Sightings, so he incorporated more of Peter into Sightings. And then there was the spin-off Unexplained Mysteries. That's still sometimes on Sci-Fi Channel. It was on when there was Chiller Channel. You would see those like on Sunday mornings and things. But yeah, that's where you started seeing Peter James come about. Now, years down the road, this was in 2007 when my wife saw that Peter had come back to give the tours that he founded on the ship. We, you know, right away we scheduled it for our 9-year wedding anniversary. We're like, oh, let's go see Peter James. And Sophia was 8 at the time, and she wanted to go. And we're like, no, you're 9. We don't, you know, this is ghost. This isn't a haunted, you know, vessel and everything. And so we went for our anniversary and just had a blast. And, you know, he would call out to Jackie and different things with the tour group that he always did. And then at the end of the night, you know, he wanted to talk because, you know, he just knew that we were fans instantly, like during the dinner tour. So we just spoke to him a little bit and told him a little bit of my background. But at the end of the night, he wasn't like a celebrity. I mean, we really looked at him like he was a celebrity. So there's not a lot that we get excited about. But yeah, Peter James. And then he gave out his email address to everybody on the tour. And there was a woman there that had just lost her sister. And he wanted her to feel good about her sister, told her certain things that only she would know, and that she was at peace, and she had just lost her like 3 months before. So he said, email me anytime, anybody in the group, if you have any questions about the afterlife or need any, you know, closure, anything of that type, just reach out, you know, no charge, anything like that. And I'm like, wow, you know, so he gave that out.
Amazing.
And then he gave out his home phone number, and it was like, yeah, you know, I don't know if I would have done that, but you know, so. And then, so I sent him a note thanking him, but, you know, just based on what Sophia had been telling me at the time that, you know, she said, Dad, I really want to go. And I'm like, well, you know, we got his DVD. So we popped in his DVD from the tour, and it had that famed footage and different things. It's like, are you still cool with this? And she's like, yeah, Dad. Yeah. Can you let him know I want to go? And I'm like, okay, well, he's giving a tour like in June coming up. That was back then in that April. And so I sent him a note and just saying, hey, my, you know, daughter really wants to go, wrote him a few things, thanking him and everything. And then he wrote back, not only is she welcome to be on the tour, I like the way you write. Where did you learn to write? So I told him,
Wow.
you know, had
That's
a broadcast journalism degree and a lot of, you know, syntax and grammar and things of that type. He goes, well, we'll need to talk during the tour, and your daughter could be the guest, you know. I'm like, wow, perfect. Wow. You know, and he said, I'll even let her call out to Jackie. And I'm like, whoa, you know, so
Nice.
so we went in that June, and unfortunately it ended up being his final tour, but we went, and he had great labor and breathing when we took the tour with him. And he made a real effort to make sure that Sophia felt great. Let her call out to Jackie, and nobody heard anything at the time, but I filmed it, and it's stuck. I would have sent over the tape, but it's stuck in a camera, and I don't have the battery or the cord to it, so I'm going to try to surgically get that out of there and have it. But Sophia calls out to Jackie with the group, and you see Peter in the video just kind of gesture, and you hear a little, not the beginning of a girl's voice and not the end, but just kind of the middle right through that. And Peter heard it, and he kind of gestures to us, but none of us heard it. But there you hear it on the tape, you know. So it was a great evening, great being with Peter. And then, you know, coming at the end of the night, he said, yeah, I want to just talk to you for a second. And I said, okay. And he goes, you know, I have a book that I've written everything out. I've had people drop the ball on me all the time. Will you write my book for me? And that's where I was like, wow, you know. So I said, you know, definitely. And you know, he said he did want it to be his legacy. And so my wife and I, we went out, he had us come meet him, just about all the specifics of everything he wanted. He even had a VCR and a tape playing that he had Sightings on. So there's my wife and I just watching old episodes of Sightings with Peter in them, you know, and it was just, we hadn't seen him for years at that point. But then he really detailed out what he wanted. The notes that he gave me, he wrote like he spoke. And that's what was unique as well, was that it's like when you know how he spoke, he painted pictures with his words. It's like, in a world such as ours, and with all respect to others in the field, and with this, and that kind of thing. That's how he spoke. That's how he wrote. So like one sentence would be like a paragraph long.
Wow.
So basically, I just convinced him. I said, Peter, can I just take this and correct it? He's like, well, I kind of want it in a book format, and just take what, I just said, just your readers know how you speak. I mean, eventually readers, but I mean, your audience always knew how you spoke and how you communicated when they saw you on Sightings. And if there's any way I could preserve that and just, add a lot of, commas, semicolons to finish a thought and different things and give it a flow. And he goes, okay, John, you convinced me, you can do that. And I, find a lot of solace in that, because after he passed away, to think that I would have edited something and taking something out to give it another connotation that was my interpretation of what I thought this was, that really would have hurt. So I was glad that, I got his blessing on that. And so are his fans. I mean, when they read, they're like, oh my God, it's like Peter saying this. It's like a book on tape right in front of me of Peter. They picture his voice in their head while they're reading it. And so they've, I found great solace in that. So, yeah. Oh, yeah. Fonz was the producer. I saw that quick blurb there. Wink kind of gave him carte blanche on what he wanted to do as far as his methodology. Now, that's what was unique about Sightings was, it's before like the dead files and things that you see with that approach now. But like, this is before the internet. This is before people could really get into, files on what these locations were. And all he knew was they would fly him out to a city and then drive him an hour and a half by town car. And he would start outside the location, like say Sally's house in Atchison, Kansas. And he would start from the outside in, get impressions, get names. And that's where you saw that all verified on those episodes of Sightings. And then they would have the Sightings archivist in some local courthouse looking up and verifying, that's the name of, there was a girl in that residence, or there was a doctor in the Black Forest case in Colorado where there were the sprites in the forest, and he came up with the doctor that passed away in the house, and then he picked up the smells that it was a doctor, and you saw that unfold at that time, and that was, really unique to see in that programming.
Oh, that's amazing.
Wow, amazing.
Yeah.
What a blessing to be part of that. Huh?
Yeah.
Wow.
And that was a great lead. And I wanted to start. You've got a clip that's 3 minutes and 42 seconds.
Yeah, I tried to edit it so that it'd be in the 2 minutes, but it's you'll hear, it's revisiting that case. So
John sent in we've got 4 audio clips. That's the longest one, and then we've got a picture of a portion of the Queen Mary that we've all seen and been experienced there. Queen Mary is one of my most favorite locations. For those of you guys don't know, I toured the Queen Mary when I was 15 years old with a friend of mine and his mother, and we were in the pool area. It's when they just did the pool area on general tours.
Yeah. And
I looked down and I saw wet footprints about that big. And I told my friend, I was 15 years old. I'm like, dude, there's wet footprints on the ground. And he's like, it's a pool. I'm like, it's empty. And then we heard a little girl giggle, and I told him, I said, did you hear that little girl giggle? He goes, yeah, so what? And I'm like, we're the youngest people on the tour. Are you not catching on to this?
Hello.
So that's when I got hooked on the Queen Mary. And was it my 40th birthday?
No, it was our honeymoon.
Well, our honeymoon was also my birthday.
Well, that's true.
So we took a cruise out of Long Beach for our honeymoon, and my birthday landed the day before we left on the cruise. And Audra booked us a room on the Queen Mary because she knew I always wanted to go back. And we did an all-night investigation, and we ended up in the pool area. And that place has always had a place in my heart and always will. But sorry to drag this out, guys, but this video that John sent in it's called Peter Jackie Speaks. And this one excites me because, so you guys didn't hear the voices, right? Only Peter could hear them, but you didn't pick them up on the video?
Oh, on this video clip?
Yeah.
Yeah, this one that's 3:45, I believe it's the actual video that Peter submitted of him, his actual videographer, and 2 appointed security guards. When he talks about it in the talk-up of, it's from his DVD, he doesn't mention that the 2 guards are at both ends of the swimming pool. So there's nobody at that location at that time.
Wow.
Yeah, but yeah, this is that famed footage where she talks with him and sings with him.
Okay. So the reason I'm bringing this up is we have, a lot of people watching. This is the world of a sensitive. So when some of the people watching have been on investigations with Audra and I, and Tony and Cherie have been on investigations with us, and you'll hear Audra and I'll go, "Did you hear that?" And people go, "I didn't hear anything." This is what it's like in the world of a sensitive. This is what we hear on an investigation that most people don't pick up. And that's what I liked about this clip is when we think we're crazy and everybody else is looking at us like we're crazy, this is what actually happens. And here's that clip, guys.
When we did go into the first class swimming pool with my videographer and their appointed security guard, Jackie began to speak audibly, verbally, where you could hear him and I could hear him and the whole world was able to hear her speak, verbally, audibly.
Yes, here, come hold my hand now, Jackie. Let me help you. Okay, talk to me again. I don't want to go away unless you know we're here with love. I'm here to help you. Yes, you can find your mommy too. Your mommy loves you too like we do. We're here with love and light for you. Talk to me. I'm not going to hurt you. I promise you that. Show me where you are, Jackie. She said she's caught. Did you hear that? Where's she caught? Where are you caught? On top? Are we on? You don't have to stay here. You don't have to stay here. Yes, you can do that too if you want to. Mommy loves you too. Won't you let me hold your hand? Let me hold your hand. Do you like Sarah? And do you know Carrie? Is Carrie your friend? Jackie! Talk to me again, Jackie. She's singing.
Yeah, here.
She's singing. Can I sing with you? London Bridge is falling down, falling down. Okay. London Bridge is falling down. Can you sing with me? Sing with me. Hello? Sarah. Can you sing with me? I want to go back there. I want to go back. Listen. Yes! I want to look. I'm looking. Talk to me, Jackie. Let me help you. London Bridge is falling down, falling down. Here?
Wow. That's so amazing.
That is just incredible.
Yeah.
April 1991.
Yeah.
Gosh,
Goosebumps.
Yeah.
Because you can hear the little girl's voice very
Oh
clear.
yeah, it's got tone, it's got body to it, it's got, I said EVP. That's actually direct voice
Yeah.
phenomena. He's hearing that with your own ear.
Exactly.
When we were in Diplomat, that
It's the same
conversation
thing.
you had
Yeah.
too was just like that. You
Yeah.
could hear everything with your own ears. It was.
Well, Sophia, she portrayed Jackie in Peter's book too. She reminded Peter a lot of what Jackie looked like to him. He felt like maybe she was just a couple years older, but so we arranged for that to get her pictures taken down there in the center part of Peter's book where all the images are. There's Sophia in there, but it is, when you're a parent, you can pull your child's voice out of a crowd. You can just know. And Bob Davis of Planet Paranormal, he on December of 2008, there was a Dave Schrader Darkness radio event aboard the ship, and it was the first time I got to bring the book aboard the ship, and it was finally published and out there. And so I was signing copies of the book, and Bob Davis comes over and his associate Brian Clune. They went down to the pool area and they got Jackie to speak, and he had 2 FBI audio analysts look at this footage of Peter, take the audio from this, and then the audio footage, the audio of what they collected too as well. And there was like one got an 8.2% match out of 10, and one had 7.8% match out of 10. That it was the same child's voice, 20 years apart.
Oh my gosh.
And
Wow.
and that 6% is all that's needed for a conviction in a court of law. So that was pretty compelling. That it's, and I've heard that voice before, where we've been there like 12:30 in the morning with other paranormal teams, and they always like having Sophia call out. So that's been unique too as well. She's been a part of a lot of different investigative teams, like they have that catalyst, and so they'd have her call out. And we heard that, at different times, like maybe not the beginning of what she says or the end, but just her kind of singing in the middle or something at, 12:30 in the morning one. And it's pretty impressive.
That's awesome. That is
What gives you the chills is, I remember the voice I heard when I was 15, when we returned back, when we went, the gentleman that they had during the tour at the time, he had us in the changing room. And he was saying that's where they make contact with Jackie. And Audra's next to me, and I'm like, no, she's out there by the pool. She's out there. I can hear her. She's out there by the pool. She's out there playing. And it was the same voice 30 years later. It was weird. It was. Yeah. And then the funny thing is he was like, she always comes in here. And I kept looking at Audra going, no, she doesn't. She stays out there. She plays out. I can hear her out there. And then he goes, Jackie, if you don't come in and talk to us, we're going to have to leave. And then all of a sudden you hear her go, aw. And it was the same damn voice.
Wow.
So when I was reviewing your evidence, when you sent it, man, I was getting chills going, oh my God, that's the same voice all these years later. It's still, that's Jackie.
Yeah, it's like a little nasally kind of shrill, but that same voice. Now that the EVPs I sent you, that was from a totally different night. And I don't know what it is, because they took all the water out of the propeller room. And we'd always heard about the propeller room, during the sinking of the Curacao that got cut in half by the Queen Mary as an escort ship. A lot of the men were pulled into that prop wash. And so there's a lot of tragedy that happened around those propellers too as well. But, it was all emptied out. So I don't know if that displacement brought a lot that night, but there were a lot of voices that we captured. I was the only male present. There was my wife, a girlfriend of hers, our niece visiting from Chicago, and Sophia. And then there's male voices in there, but it's like Todd Wolf said about the Wolf Manor. He said whenever they did construction on a certain part of the location, that's when all the activity picked up. Right. So there might have been something to that.
Yeah.
Well, it almost makes you wonder a little bit too, if them leaving the water around that propeller when they drained it, if it actually made it more audible than it was when the water was there. You know what I mean?
Yeah. It's definitely, you could tell our voices in the foreground, and these are all in between, and just kind of, and there also feels like there's a echo to some of those voices, and from that environment. But it's just, that's a theory a lot of people have. If you're back east and you have a lot of water in the environment from snow, or like this has the salinity of being like 50 fathoms, just deep in the water in the harbor there, with all that conductivity of the salt water, a lot of people believe that brings a lot about.
Yeah, that's very possible. The cool thing about the Queen Mary, though, is that pool area is absolutely active, and with Jackie and, you know, maybe a couple other things. But I think the last 3 times we've been there, the pool area was completely shut down. Even when we were with, when we were with the Dark Zone, which I believe
With
Sophia was out there as well.
Yeah.
We could put cameras on the balconies to overlook, but we
can
weren't
go
allowed
past
to
that
go,
because
which was sad, right? Because that pool area is fantastic.
Yeah.
We were there in 2016.
Yeah.
April of 2016, and it was still open. They'd allowed us down on the deck and in the changing rooms. But I heard it was like late 2017 when they finally closed it, wouldn't let anybody down in that area for some reason.
Yeah, another reason was there's tiles. There's like when you go down there, there's certain guards that, like, you know, they remember Peter and they'll see my family there. We have like your annual passes and stuff, you know, so that, you know, you're not paying for parking every time. Nobody even knows they have annual passes. So sometimes when you go to the observation bar and you give them the card, they're like, "What's this?" And they're like, "Oh, okay," and then, you know, that kind of thing. But so yeah, we'd go there a lot, and then sometimes, you know, guards would see us going, "Hey," you know, and they just open a door and let us in, that kind of thing, you know.
Oh, that's awesome.
And so, yeah, that's what's been cool too, is just having that carte blanche, you know, just, you know, from the status of who Peter was. And so, yeah, they have stacks of just tiles and things in there, and you know, they didn't want to have them crushed, and a lot of different structural work they were doing in the pool area because the main beam supports had been taken out. And so when you see the crack that goes all the way around the swimming pool that's about that wide, there's nothing holding that up. And people were going down and walking around in the pool and different things. And so now they've retrofitted it, and they have these giant girders underneath down. When you go down in the engine room where the engines used to be,
the big open room downstairs,
boilers and everything, you'll see the bottom of the swimming pool just above the green room. And used to, you know, set up and everything, or Bob Hope would, you know, work on his lines. Right above that room, you can now see those, you know, steel beams they put in. So now they're able to open that area.
Oh, nice.
Yeah.
So let's go to these pictures that you sent, John. There we go.
Yeah.
So this is when they drained it?
Yeah, that's an actual, you can stand along a railing there and walk around this area that they've welded in this giant, you know, inner tank like that. And it's typically filled up with water. And the night we were there, you know, a guy let us in there. And so this is probably, you know, midnight, 1 a.m. And then they just had one little, you know, worker light at the bottom. You could see a bucket down there to scale. So this is a massive propeller, just one of 4 that's there. And that's where we were standing around. And there was a little sump pump kind of noise when you hear the EVP play and everything. You'll hear kind of like a little growling sound. That's like a little pump somewhere in the background. And then, yeah, you'll hear our voices and the other voices that kind of speak in between us.
And then here's that other photo that you sent in.
Yeah, it's just, it was real creepy there. You see another bucket there. So, I mean, this is just weird to look in. And, yeah, any little thing you said just echoed around in there. And I've never seen it like that ever since.
So what's even more interesting is these light anomalies that you're getting. This area is not a dry area. So
well, you know, it's just on the outside of the ship. There's kind of canopy all around that, you know, little upper area of it. So yeah, there is definitely like moisture that happens that you could just sensately feel in there.
Yeah, that's pretty cool.
Yeah.
So which is the EVP that goes with that? I got
go ahead.
I got choir. Hold on, Jackie wants to see you. Speak to me, Jackie.
Yeah, the speak to me, Jackie, that might be a good one because that encapsulates like where we're just kind of standing there and you'll hear like a little child's voice in there. You'll hear these voices that say like, Jackie, hold on, Jackie wants to speak with you. But right in the beginning where it says speak to me, that's kind of what, you know, when you saw, you know, Peter James in that clip and he'd be like, talk to me, Jackie, talk to me. That was another thing he would say is speak to me. So right in the beginning, you can hear our voices talking, but you just right in the beginning, just hear this speak to me. You know, that's where it really sounded like Peter.
Wow.
All right, here we go. Let's take a listen.
That was Sophia.
you hear like a little shrill girl's voice. You hear like, what freaked me out is like, you hear the "speak to me" like that, like he would say, but it's real faint there. But with I only have one earbud in, but that's a good one to go back and you play it. I also have it on Peter James Lives. I have that on Twitter and on Facebook for a tribute page that the family had me set up for Peter, and also the book publishing CEO. So that's a good place for people to leave sentiments for Peter, what their reflections and fondness of his career. And so that's Peter James Lives on Facebook, and you go under the videos. You could see his lectures that I was able to compile from people and post on there. So it's a great place to see all of his footage now. But that speak to me. And then in there, I have it isolated. So that's the other clips, or it's an isolation of that. But there's also one that in there almost sounds like a choir that kind of says, "We're not holding Jackie," like that. Because that's another thing that people have said over the years, is even other psychics, they felt that she was caught and something was kind of holding her back. And that's what Peter asks in that video too. He says she's caught, and so that's kind of weird that there was something that just sounded like, that's always something we ask when we're there. Are you okay to come forward? Is there anything keeping you? And then that's where you hear that, "We're not holding Jackie," like people just say, "No, nobody's doing this," but then you hear the "hold on," you hear the "Jackie, hold on, Jackie wants to speak with you." But before I heard "Jackie wants to speak with you," the night we came back from that, and I just kind of, had the digital recorder and I just played a few parts before bed. And that's where I heard the "Jackie, hold on." And that's what I'd heard at that point. And I thought it was somebody trying to revive her. And so I couldn't sleep the entire night. And the next day, I told Bob Davis about this and sent it over. But by then I listened to the whole thing and then heard the "Jackie, hold on, Jackie wants to speak with you," and that I didn't hear that part, but I thought it was, someone reviving her. And I couldn't sleep the whole night. And I told Bob, and Bob just said, "Never listen to EVP before you go to bed." So
I think we're all guilty of that one.
That's for sure.
That's what we do all the time. After investigation, we review
we'll be up till 2:33, 3:30 in the morning, just listening to see what kind of.
And one just freaks you out enough that you just can't sleep after that.
Right.
So, but yeah, that's the isolated one that sounds like two different men, kind of that old timey, speak. And one almost sounds like he has an accent or something in there too, like "Jackie, hold on," and that's the other clip that should be there.
Okay. Let's Jackie, hold on. Here we go. Let's take a listen. And for everybody watching, in case you didn't notice, yes, John's hair is that long. He's got it pulled back tonight. There it is. All right, here we go.
Oh, that's too fast.
That was quick.
Let's listen to that again.
Oh yeah.
That's clear.
And it's weird. That's not like it's that fast. So when you hear the clip of us talking in the foreground, it just these guys rushing almost seems like feverish just to say, "Jackie," like, "Hey, Jackie, hold on. Jackie wants to see you." Almost like, see, nobody's holding her here, or she's not caught. But yeah, just like it sounds, it's a weird kind of flow to their or cadence to their voice.
Yeah. No, we've talked about this on the show before, where we've caught, like, Ron has a lot of stuff that he gets on his ITC stuff and his DRV stuff, and Tony's even got it too, where you catch something really quick, you don't know what it is, but the minute you slow it down, Ron sounds drunk.
And it's hysterical.
But then you get to the EVP and it's like real time. So it's almost like the way they choose to communicate. Sometimes it comes through faster, sometimes it comes through slower, and sometimes you actually miss the EVP if you're not paying attention. So that was a good catch.
That's what Peter mentions in his book, is that they don't speak with the same ease or fluidity because of the violent, tragic, or that thrust into afterlife almost leaves in that, or if it's over rushed like that it's they're confused or like in an intoxication in the flow of their speech until they get their sea legs on moving about or speaking. And that's
right.
Plus it's so fast. I mean, it literally exceeds what the human body could speak at. I mean, it's that fast that your mind can't even catch it. But like Chris was saying, when Ron would slow it down to half speed, it sounded like normal speech.
Yeah.
Or they're answering something you're about to ask 3 questions later. They give the answer before you've even asked it.
Yeah. Right. I'm not sure where Chris went, but yeah, that's very common. And
hey, April. Hey,
We're back.
Psychic April. She's coming up on Sophia's show soon.
Oh, cool. April's great.
Sorry, guys. StreamYard kicked us out for some reason. Oh, there went Tony and Cherie.
Uh-oh.
It did it to them, too.
Uh-oh. John, you're next.
Kind of like a host start hosting Monty or something.
All right, we're all back now.
Apple again. There we go.
Did you get the error message?
What error message?
It kicked us out, and StreamYard just said there's been an error. Sorry. And I literally had
I'm not sure what happened, but we just got booted too. So
because we mentioned the X-Files. Yeah.
That's what I told you. John's next.
Peter's saying hi.
Facebook.
Yeah, there's a few things that happened with since with Peter. That like a quick little story too. Just a few years ago, we lost an old senior pup of ours, like a Boston Terrier Pug mix, and then she after that, Sophia started looking into dogs, and we went to like Seal Beach Rescue, and they're like, bring your dogs. We need to see if they get along. And as we went there, you spent 2 hours there, and they're like, oh, look, see, your dog raised an eyebrow. You can't, they're not getting along. It's like, what, really? So that we have 4 dogs, and dogs play with them all the time, that kind of thing. So there was another place Sophia found that, and she dealt with Mexican rescue dogs that were like living in the streets and stuff. And there's this really pretty little dog, had a little mange and stuff. And so the lady said, yeah, come down and we'd like to, see you meet our dog. Well, you need us to bring all our dogs? No, just come down. So we went down there, and then, she met Sophia, met me, and it's felt like we knew her a long time. And then she just goes, well, the reason I'm going to let you guys have this dog is because we have a mutual friend. And she said, Peter James. And it's like, wow, Peter just got Sophia a dog. So she looked at my Facebook and saw that, I co-authored Peter's book, and, she spent a lot of time knowing Peter and stuff, and he'd read her dogs and different stuff. And so, yeah, it was really cool that way.
That's awesome.
And then, just there's been little miracle kind of things that have happened along the way too, since his passing.
That's so neat.
Well, it appears he was saying hi tonight and said, this is John's show. You guys get out.
I'm seeing a lot of Peter's fans popping up there, and April, she just commented, and meeting you guys too. I mean, for us, we went from being like fans of Peter's to being able to co-author alongside of him, and then when he passed away, it left me the honor of getting that out and into the hands of his fans, just as I want, if that was something that happened, that Peter had a work come out, and then just knowing how we were as fans is just it's just been an honor. And it's like one of his fans said, Tony Mallard, it's like Peter took you from being a believer to a knower. And that was another great thing about him. It's a great gift to me as a parent, knowing my daughter has comfort and everything with the afterlife, and met so many great people along the way.
Yeah,
that's awesome. That is awesome.
So what's really interesting is we're going to have to go back and listen to the broadcast, because we're hearing voices behind ours. Well, a voice.
Well, when John was talking just like 2 minutes ago, it was like, wait.
Really?
Yeah.
I thought maybe Tony was said something, and I'm like, no,
Like
you're not moving.
I can tell you right now, for everybody watching, if you didn't know who Peter James was, you weren't paying attention to the paranormal. And if anybody could reach through a broadcast like this to talk to John, it would be Peter.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Wow. See, that's some of the little miracles I talk about. There have been instances like that where people just say that, or out of the blue, like April, there'll be like 5 different psychics that we know or have been on Sophia's show just start writing me out of the blue that I have, haven't spoken to in like a couple months or since they've been on the show. And then they're just like, hey, Peter has a message for you. Peter has a message for you. And it's just like all at once. It's like, well, you guys are proven.
Wow. Yeah. So cool.
That is awesome.
That's very cool.
Well, I'm trying not to rush too much because we've only got one more left, but I'm going to tell you before this show's over tonight, everybody watching, I'm going to run that Peter Jackie Speaks clip again because that one is phenomenal.
Yes,
but this is the choir one that you sent in, John.
That's really fast. You have to play it like 12 times.
Yeah, it's 4 seconds. I'm going to have to play it like 5 or 6 times.
Drop it too bad, yeah.
No, you're good. The good thing is the show lasts an hour, but we're allowed to go over if we would like to. So if we want to play a couple of these clips again, so everybody that's watching, comment if there's one you want to hear again because they're fast. Yeah, Scott just said StreamYard's haunted tonight. This would be the right show for it to be haunted. So let's go ahead and play the choir one. Where did you catch this one again, John?
Same night, yeah, just in that propeller room that just really came alive.
Okay. Here we go. Wow.
Yeah, like we're not holding Jackie.
Yeah.
And that's one of the things we always ask, and that was in that clip.
Let's play that again.
Yeah, that was fast.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
And it sounds like more than one voice too. Yeah.
Yeah. Both
the Jay and
headsets.
Jackie is super, super
holy
pronounced.
Jackie. Yeah.
Right.
There's a shriek in there too, where it sounds like a woman shrieks, Jackie.
Oh.
Like really startled. I don't know if you have that one there.
The shriek? Is it the same clip?
Yeah, well, it's one that I think just says women shriek or just shriek.
Hang on. Did I miss one?
Yeah, I'd kind of sent them in batches. Would have been in there. Maybe on that first, might have been that first batch.
Okay, hold on, everybody watching. Tony, talk for a minute.
Hold on, I gotta mute for a second. I got a jet going over. Hold on 1 second.
The sound of freedom.
Yeah, you can hear us talking like right in that same clip where me and one of the gals, we just say that was weird, and that was strange, like reacting to something, but it sounded like a woman just shrieked, Jackie. Yeah.
Did you, or in any of the things that Peter caught when speaking with Jackie, did you ever hear another entity or spirit tell Jackie not to communicate with the living? I mean, we have caught that. Remember, like Candy, that guy said, Candy, don't speak to them. Right. I'm just curious if he or you ever heard anything from Peter that had another spirit tell Jackie not to communicate.
Yeah, see, what Peter's always let me know is anytime he went to the ship, because he got a lot of flack for it, he's like, why don't you get her to move on? What about Sally? Why don't you ever get her to move on? And, and he said for whatever reason they choose to stay, or if it's because, she's constant, what he got is that she was always looking for her mommy. And so he felt that, like, for whatever reason, he couldn't get her to move on. He tried every time he visited. Now, there was Sarah. That's another spirit that's in the video where you see him flinch. And he said she was real protective of Jackie. And that's the other thing, is he thought maybe that was always Sarah that they're referring to, that she was real protective as maybe a nanny or somebody as a guardian of her. Where he felt there's record of during wartime when it was the Gray Ghost and not the luxury ship and it was used to move troops. There was a special voyage of military families brought over from the U.S. to Britain. And as they were being brought over, was a lot of moms with children, because there's no record of anybody named Jackie passing away or drowning. And he felt that she actually drowned in the second class swimming pool, which is now the Royal Theater in the back of the, so if you see the full DVD of Peter aboard the ship, and I have that on Peter James Lives on Facebook. You can see the full video. But what he does is he's on the Royal Theater stage, and he'd never been that part of the ship. And a guard starts telling him, he goes, well, there's a girl talking to me, and she wants me to meet her at the other pool area. And he's standing on a stage. He goes, well, this used to be the second class swimming pool. And he goes, oh, okay. Wow. that he said that's that vortex that's, you know, also in the changing rooms at the ship or at the other end of the swimming pool. That's where she was able to come and go, and he could feel and sense when she would come back through the two areas of the ship. And he said he did pick her up in other parts of the ship and hallways and things too. So she kind of had that flow and ease of going back between those two pools.
Right. Yeah.
Okay, so I'm going to share my screen. I have to apologize, John. I must have missed that one.
Oh, no problem.
But I still have it. So I'm going to share. I got to share the audio. What the hell? Hi, Peter.
Ooh, yeah, there you go. You know what? It's giving me chills. And I think Katie, who's, you know, I saw a flash there in the bottom of the screen. And yeah, she's a paranormal investigator that we've been on the Queen Mary with numerous times. She might have been there that night where we had a group of us and we were around the Paranormal Research Center. That's a portion of the ship where a lot of tours start out from. And we were getting a lot of sensor hits and things. And we were there with Psychic Mike Loop. And so he had an obulus out there. And as it was going along, we're like, wow, Peter, is that you? And it said present. And then, you know, various things. It said stone, and somebody put out a pink stone as a trigger object just in case. And Mike Loop's like, well, maybe we ought to film this. And it said proper. And it's like, that's something Peter would say, like, yeah, do it properly. Start filming this, you know, and every K2, everything was going crazy. And this kind of stuff would happen. Like lights are, you know, kind of flickering around the room. And yeah, there's Katie.
and John, I got to be honest with you. That has never, ever happened. We've got some weird stuff going on tonight. So I wouldn't be surprised if Peter's not with us.
Okay, here's another story. So we're on the Queen Mary for Dave Schrader's event, and he's having a celebrity auction. So we had Aaron Gray from Battlestar Galactica raising money for a charity. And so you had all these items there that were donated. And Sophia, you know, when she's little, she's looking at the Star Wars poster. It was a limited edition, never released, but by the, you know, signed by the artist. And there was only like, 400 made, but then, you know, it was from 1976 to 1986. They only did a certain number of these, and it was out there. And she only had $50 on her because she, you know, bought some other, like, you know, equipment and stuff, you know, the first night. And we're like, oh yeah, you know, so I'd sell a book. She'd run off, start buying flashlights and different stuff. And so when it came to the auction, there's like, you know, hundreds of people in the grand salon. And then Dave Schrader's up there, and he goes up and he's like, yeah, here's a Star Wars, you know, limited edition poster and she's all ready to like throw her hand in the air. So she's holding her hand and stuff in the front row. And so he starts going, you know, and everything just started. So he just starts going, okay, do I hear $50? And she throws her hands up and he goes to the little lady in the front row, and boom, a fire alarm went off and just started squealing all through the place. And so he couldn't say another word. So then, you know, we go outside and we're waiting outside 45 minutes, and then they let go of the all clear and everything. So we come back in, the auction was over. So she got that poster for $50, and it's like a
nice. Wow, that's awesome.
So cool.
Somebody helped with that.
Yeah. Yeah, and Dave just was looking at her and shaking her head all weekend long, like, dude.
That's awesome.
Wow.
So I got the woman shrieks, and then we're also going to play the Peter James clip again, and we're going to let John do some shameless plugs, which we always have every show.
I'm good at that. Yeah.
So in about 7 minutes, guys, UNX is going to switch over to their other audio programming, but you can still catch us live on YouTube and Facebook. We're going to continue until we're done with John, and we're not quite done yet. So stick around, guys.
Yeah, Melissa.
And here is the woman shrieks Jackie. Let me know if you guys can hear it. I shared the audio. I want to make sure you guys can hear it. Here we go.
Yeah.
Let's play that again.
Yeah.
In the beginning.
Yeah, right.
If you pay really close attention, she shrieks it and then she whispers it.
Yeah.
Let's play that again.
but it's just such a shrill shriek. Yeah, almost like, somebody.
Yeah, you hear the shriek, and then she whispers it a second time. Let me play that one more time. Listen real close.
It says thumbs up on the end.
That was the one gal there. She said, "What? Yeah, what was that?"
Okay.
Yeah, what the hell is that?
Yeah, we're like, what was that? And we're reacting to something.
Let me play it again for those already watching. The Jackie shriek is right at the beginning, and then if you listen real close, right after she stops, then she goes, "Jackie."
Yeah.
Listen to it.
Yeah.
Did you hear it? Yeah.
Yes.
So she says,
and at the time, during any of this, it's actually over 2 minutes where there's different things. There's also a voice that sounds like, now this is the prop room. There's like a female voice like that, but we didn't hear any of this at the time.
Wow. That's awesome. Those are the best when you're doing review and you catch that stuff, and that's fantastic. And now that the Queen Mary's back on schedule to open back up again, all the investigators that are watching, if you've never been to the Queen Mary, you
gotta do it.
I would put it up there with Trans-Allegheny. Without a doubt in my mind, the Queen Mary is one of my favorite locations, man. It is just phenomenal. Anthony Simonelli, how you doing? All right. So,
yeah.
Let me look.
Yeah, Melissa's right. Just the shriek. It just, it feels like a mom or somebody very close that is reacting to.
Sure does. Sure does.
Well, it almost makes you wonder. So that was caught in the engine room, right? By the propeller?
Same place, that prop room.
The prop room, yeah. And that would have been more towards the second class pool.
It is. The second class swimming pool, if you go right out that prop room, you walk right up to the Royal Theater door. And that's where, that used to be the second class pool.
So if Jackie did truly drown in the second class pool, that could have been a residual shriek from the mother that lost her.
Yeah, just on a replay or something.
Yeah, that's phenomenal evidence. That's awesome. All right.
It's awesome that it's still happening.
Yeah. What do you guys want to hear again? Oops. What the hell?
Just play the 3 minute, 3:45, whatever it is.
Peter.
Okay, let's do the Peter one more time, then we'll go to shameless plugs. All right, here you go, guys. Pay really close attention. This is the world of a sensitive right here, and Peter is the greatest example of it. So here we go.
When we did go into the first class swimming pool with my videographer and their appointed security guard, Jackie began to speak audibly, verbally, where you could hear him and I could hear him and the whole world was able to hear her speak, verbally, audibly.
Yes, here. Come hold my hand now, Jackie. Let me help you. Okay, talk to me again. I don't want to go away unless you know we're here with love. I'm here to help you. Yes, you can find your mommy too. Your mommy loves you too like we do. We're here with love and light for you. Talk to me. I'm not going to hurt you. I promise you that. Show me where you are, Jackie. She said she's caught. Did you hear that? Where's she caught? Where are you caught? On top? Are we on? You don't have to stay here. You don't have to stay here. Yes, you can do that too if you want to. Mommy loves you too. Won't you let me hold your hand? Let me hold your Do you like Sarah? And do you know Carrie? Is Carrie your friend? Jackie! Talk to me again, Jackie. She's singing.
Yeah, here.
She's singing. Can I sing with you? London Bridge is falling down, falling down. London Bridge is falling down. Can you sing with me? Sing with me. Hello? Sarah. Can you sing with me? I want to go back then. I want to go back. Listen. Yes! I want to look. I'm looking. Talk to me, Jackie. Let me help you. London Bridge is falling down, falling down. Here?
That was very amazing capture.
That's just incredible.
Another
It seems
quick
like Jack is very comfortable with Peter James.
Yeah, he was able to do that. Yeah, he was really great at getting them to communicate, even like Sally. But what's interesting too is a few years ago, Sophia had Grant Wilson on her show, and he'd just done an event for Center Stage Events aboard the Queen Mary with Amy Bruni. So they both did a session, and then so Sophia started talking about Peter James and singing with Jackie, and he started saying, well, there was some member of the group of the tour. He said she got a recording of a little girl singing London Bridges. And it was like, whoa! Wow. So, yeah, the same song.
That's so cool.
That is just a phenomenal.
Peter James went back there to investigate again or tried to communicate with Jackie.
After
that time.
Yeah, he hosted his tours there. So that would be monthly. He did it, but his asthma and his bronchitis was so great that he was only resident aboard for maybe 5 years at that time frame. And then the ship wanted to change direction, not really be known for paranormal. Of course, that's what they are today, is like it came back again. So that's when we went on the tour, is when he came back to give his tours. And unfortunately, was only able to do those two. But every time he went, he did try to communicate. Well, how he got that tour was actually, it talks about in the intro of the book. But after that footage, and it made it on Sightings, he got a call from an executive on the Queen Mary. So he went down with his former personal assistant at the time, and he said, I better bring you with me if you're ready. And then so they went down that day, and they went down to the ship. They were greeted by the executive that brought them into the pool area. And Peter said when he went in there were 25 executives and holding company managers along the railing of the swimming pool area. And they looked at Peter, one of them, and said, can you make her do that again? And he said, well, she's not trained to do this, but I can try. And so sure enough, he got her to do it again right there on the spot for all 25 executives. And that's when they gave him the contract and said, yeah, we want you to be a permanent, fixture here on the Queen Mary.
Wow. That's amazing. Just incredible.
I know.
What amazes me is that a place like the Queen Mary would ever consider not involving the paranormal in what they do. It's just crazy to me. I mean, you have more guests when nobody's on board than you do when people are checked in.
Yeah, well, Pat Wheelock, he hosted some kind of scientific tours, a few years, just over a decade ago, and I was invited, on his tour. He just wanted to meet me and everything, so I went down there one night. And what he said is a lot of what happens is what he tells people to do for everybody that are ghost hunters is carry a glow stick with you, because he found, teens just shivering that were lost, because their flashlight went out or their camera went out and they had no way of knowing where they were. Yeah. So for liability reasons, and because it's California, there's a lot of lost. And there are places that when you walk through that, it looks like the ground, with all the rusticles and everything like that, could actually break out from under you and you could scratch a leg or anything like that. Right. There's raccoons sometimes on the ship, and it's got a lot of the elements kind of doing its thing there. So I think for that reason, they don't want, because of that draw, they do have a lot of people that go there and just start doing their own thing or staying after the self-guided tours and get lost. Right. And yeah.
Well, we were lucky because when we investigate Queen Mary with Sophia, it's just us.
There was no crew.
Yeah,
there were a couple of, three, I think.
Yeah,
actual Queen Mary employees that you had to be taken from spot to spot. You couldn't wander by yourself. But
when
every door was open. I know
when you were walking in the hallway, all those doors are open, and it's I
felt like you were being watched.
Yeah.
Yes, everyone. It was.
I got to be honest with you. When we stayed on there, because we were actually staying there, and we were guests of the hotel Queen Mary. We got to go down into the engine room to do the tour during the day before we did the investigation at night, and nobody goes in there with you. So we ventured off into quite a few areas that we probably shouldn't have. I mean, they had the little yellow ropes telling you can't go this way, but that didn't really stop us. I mean, we got into a lot of the areas of the ship that we probably shouldn't have, and I can imagine getting lost in that ship.
They do embrace the paranormal. They have the signage up, but they like it more structured, and the paying attendants, and that people can kind of keep you in one area at a time where they know where you are at all times, and not just a free form people just popping up out all parts of the ship. And
right.
Well, what really surprised me is our investigation started at 11? And
11 to 4.
Yeah, 11 to 4:30, somewhere in there. And we had people dropping off when we were down in the belly of the ship, in the area where they used to have all the boilers and where they took it all out, and it was just a wide open cavernous area.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm sitting there going, and there was a lot of people that said, "Okay, I'm done. I'm going back to my room, or I'm leaving for the night." It's like, how the hell did you find your way out?
Yeah, well, a lot of times what happens is they have people that the ships, because it doesn't have a functioning pool, and if you're going to stay there and come out, a lot of them are sales reps from a lot of different places, and whoever the coordinator is and sets up a travel, there's a hotel here, it's a ship, and so you get a lot of people from other places that come out, and they aren't that interested, but it's like, oh, what do I do tonight? My sales meeting's in 2 days, and I'll take this ghost tour, and then they want to leave after a half hour. Right. So you get people that aren't that interested,
By 4 a.m. there was it started with about 40 or 50.
Yeah.
It was a lot.
It was supposed to be capped at 25.
There wasn't. Yeah, it was supposed to be capped at 25. It was 40 or 50 somewhere in there. When we went into the engine room, we couldn't do any EVPs because there was people 2 feet from us in the engine room. But by the time we got to the pool area, there was 10 of us.
Wow.
People just kept dropping off because nobody could go till 4 o'clock in the morning. I was like, no, hell no, I'm not leaving till I get to that pool.
Yeah, there's another Peter's, one of the Sightings episodes that was really good was Peter James at Alcatraz. And my wife and I got to do an overnight there with a Constantino once, back about 12 years ago. But we went to some of the places that Peter went, that he discovered things back where the guys were held behind the D block corridor. We got to go back in there right where Peter was and see the bullet holes on the cinder blocks back in there where they were being shot at by guards. But that was another amazing location. But the thing about that is Eric Formosi, Soul Searchers, he went, he thought it'd be the same thing, really crowded, not a lot you could get, but he said everybody's got the self-guided earphones on in the tour. He said you could take EVP and everything, you don't hear a pin drop because people are walking around like zombies with the tour audio.
We should do that too.
Okay, John, we've come to the part of the show where shameless plugs. Everybody get out a pen and a paper because John's got some stuff to promote. So go ahead, John. Tell us what you got to promote.
Well, April's Intuitive April, Psychic Housewife in New Jersey. She's going to be upcoming on Sophia's show. Now, Sophia, That's my daughter. She's the ghost host, Sophia Temperilli, on liveparanormal.com and ghosthunting.com now. So they actually own both those URLs. And that's Saturdays at 12 p.m. Pacific, 3 p.m. Eastern, 8 p.m. UK, which actually turned out is why she's one of the highest rated shows, is because a lot of ghost hunters want them later in the evening and everything. But it's like, no, to have it noon here, it's 8 p.m. there. So there's teams that actually listen in the UK that are setting up for the investigation. So that's liveparanormal.com on Saturdays. Peter James Lives. That's the Twitter that, the family had me set up, and the book publishing CEO. And the Facebook is where you could see his videos and family pictures, leave any sentiments and memories or reflections you have of Peter James. That's Peter James Lives on Facebook. And that's just been a really great thing, to provide for all of his fans.
Nice.
That's fantastic. That is awesome.
Awesome. Yeah.
And I got to tell you guys, we've all been on the Ghost Host, and it's a great show. For those of you that haven't met Sophia, that it is a fantastic show. You got to listen in on that one. That's fantastic. And for those of you that have ever been on the show, John's in there. We get to talk to John a little bit during the show too. So April is very talented. Yes, she is.
I know. One of these days, April, I need to meet you.
That's right.
Yeah, I started off doing the show with Sophia, and then she got older, and it's just like, people want to hear her. They don't want to hear this guy, So once she, it was just like, I just do the intros, talk about upcoming events, and then I just back out, and it's Sophia for the whole show.
So cool.
It is so cool. All right, I want to thank everybody for watching this week. Anthony Simonelli, nice to have you stop by, brother. And Melissa Blackman's always here. We got Katie Foreman stopped in, Aaron Bush. We got Scott Riddick of Piedmont Paranormal. He will be with us, and Everett with Piedmont. They will be with us on the North Carolina in 3 weeks. We're doing the USS North Carolina here in 3 weeks. Who else we got? April, of course. April's here almost every week.
Steve White,
Mike Bloomfield.
The Haltes were here. Both Katie and
were here. Yeah.
Art or Ron?
Yep, Ronald was here.
ERRT Radio, isn't that Ronald?
Yeah, that's Ronald.
Okay. I don't know if he's still with us. He might have went to bed, but thanks for stopping by, Ronald. Thanks everybody for stopping by. We are back. Jed Volkin's back.
I haven't seen him in a while.
We haven't seen him in a while.
Yeah.
Nice to have everybody back. We will be back again next week. Same time, same channel, same hosts. Sorry, guys, but it'll be the same hosts.
We miss Ron and Lourdes.
You weren't able to join us tonight, but
soon. They'll be back soon.
Yep,
Life happens.
Life happens. Yeah.
No.
Well, and death happens too.
No.
Well, if it didn't, we wouldn't have a show. So,
and it doesn't stop there. Yeah.
Doesn't stop there. All right, guys. Thanks for stopping by. And if you ever want to experience in the footsteps of Peter James, and you ever want to be on the Ghost Host or listen to the Ghost Host with Gian and Sophia, make sure that you pay really close attention to what's going on. But most of all, you guys visit the Queen Mary. And most of all, stay haunted. All right, guys. We'll see you next week.
Thank you.
Good night.
Can you give me a name? What's your name?